well, 9 months from now, if I start right away, 9 months from now, we'll have some miso. If you want a stronger, fuller, richer, saltier flavor, you're gonna want the red miso. That's the difference between the sweet white miso, also sometimes called yellow miso, and the red miso. It really just has to do with how long the beans have been fermenting. And so what's really nice too is you can even take this home, you can even take something like this home, and you can keep it out and it will keep fermenting if you don't put it in the refrigerator. In the refrigerator, it slows down the fermentation, but even store-bought miso, you can keep fermenting. So for a miso soup, it's really up to you what you want. I'm gonna do half and half because I can. So it's really a matter if you like it really salty, if you want it on the sweeter side, on the lighter side, but you can do half and half. And also don't get your miso from a local convenience store because this is ridiculously expensive. It was ridiculous. So I can't wait to make my own miso. And there are some wonderful miso companies that come in glass jars. I just wasn't able to get to the store. The one store I know has them, but this is a typical one you'll find, this organic yellow miso. Again, sometimes it's called yellow, sometimes it's called white. How are we doing, everybody? Oh, you want a fermenting class? I am no expert at all, but I think it would be fun to do a miso class and then revisit. Honestly, like have like a little revisit session like every 3 months, because we all could be checking our miso. Okay, I'm seeing some interest in that. I thought about that as well. So you can absolutely use chickpeas miso. You can use, not that great. Okay, so at this point we can add our peanut butter. I yesterday went to the grocery store on the way to the farmer's market and there was a jar of peanut butter for $9. Now this is a convenience store. That's ridiculous. I will not pay $9 for a jar of peanut butter. But I was gonna have to because, you know, we had limited time. Then I looked at their bins and they had peanuts. So I just made this peanut butter this morning. You can see it's really nice and creamy. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this, about a half a cup, 3/4 of a cup. It's really up to you. I'm gonna save that for later. I've got some chocolate chips. Might want that for later. Okay, oh, that's amazing. And the reason I'm not adding the beans yet is just because I really want to get that peanut butter pretty well incorporated. If your peanut butter is a little thicker, then maybe mix it in some water first and just kind of get it so that it's pretty easy to incorporate it into the rest of your vegetables. And then we're gonna add our sweet potatoes and we're gonna add our kidney beans. You can use other kinds of beans, but that's something you can do as well. So add your sweet potatoes. And then last night I made a batch of kidney beans in the pressure cooker. You can just use a can, strain them, drain them first from their water, and then add those. And then I'm gonna add our water or our vegetable stock. So the reason I wanted to add that peanut butter is because I don't really wanna mash those beans up. I want those beans to have texture still. So that's why I like adding the peanut butter before we add the beans. So just about 4 cups of water. Remember, this is a stew, not a soup, meaning we want this to be thick. We want this to have texture. We want this to have body. We don't want this to be really thin, and we're not making a puree, right? So that's the difference between a soup and a stew, is that stews are thicker. And so you don't need a ton of water for this. So I'm just adding just plain water, and then I'm gonna add a bouillon cube. You can just do all vegetable stock if you like. Okay, should we talk about sweet potatoes and yams? It's very confusing, one of those very confusing things. We'll get this stirred up and then I'm gonna cover it. And honestly, all we're waiting for at this point is for the sweet potatoes to cook. And we're talking about 30 minutes, could be 20 minutes. I'm gonna put some salt in too. I didn't put the salt in. And then of course we can always salt to taste a little later on. Okay. How's that sound good? Any questions? Oh, Michiko's coming down. I can hear Michiko. All right, so sweet potatoes.